Hey, hello guys. In this video, we are going to see about HTML headings. And HTML headings are titles or subtitles that you want to display on a web page. So any title or subtitles you want to display on a web page, you will be using this tag, HTML heading tag. So there are different types of heading, and according to your priority, you can use that heading. From heading 1 to heading 6, you have 6 heading tags which can be used. These are defined by this h1 to this h6 tags, and h1 defines the most important heading and h6 the least important. Why headings are important? Search engines use the heading to index the structure and content of your web page. So for example, they'll take the headings to map it with the search which the user does in a search engine like Google. So giving a heading, relevant heading is very important to get more viewers for your page. Users often skim a page by its heading. It is important to use headings to show the document structure. So H1 heading should be used mainly for main headings, and H2, and then less important is H3 and so on till H6. Use HTML headings for headings only. Don't use headings to make text big or bold. Bigger headings. Each HTML heading has default size. So however, you can specify the size for any heading by using the CSS font style property. In CSS, you will have font size property where you can choose the font size of this H1, but a default font size will always be given from H1 to H6. But you want to override that or overcome that and give yourself font size, you can always do that by using the style attribute and using the font size property. So that's it for heading. Now let's go to paragraphs, HTML paragraphs. A paragraph always starts on a new line and is usually a block of text. So you know what a paragraph is, right? The simple meaning of a paragraph is what it means. So if you want to write a paragraph in your HTML page or a web page, you start by using this p tag here. This p tag defines a paragraph. Paragraph always starts on a new line, and browsers automatically add white space before and after a paragraph. So if this is a paragraph, this is another paragraph, what you will see is this paragraph will be on a separate line and this will be on a separate line. So this is how the HTML defines a paragraph and how it will be displayed on a page and its structure. So next, going to HTML display, you cannot be sure how HTML will be displayed. Large or small screens and resized windows will create different results. This particular line means that if you're using a laptop screen, it's a large screen, or a PC, that's a large screen. A small screen, which means like an iPad or something, and mobile phones, a small screen. And resized windows, for example, we could resize this Chrome window and all that, will create different results in a web page, that is in your HTML page. So with HTML, you cannot change the display by adding extra spaces or extra lines in your HTML code. So the browser will automatically remove any extra spaces and lines when the page is displayed. This paragraph contains a lot of lines. If you give a full space here and continue writing it in the next line, however, the paragraph will ignore it and just display it as a continuous line of text. This paragraph contains a lot of spaces in the source code, but the browser ignores it. We'll try this and see what happens. You can see this. It ignores all the spaces, white spaces that you give in your code. So if you want to particularly give a next line or something, you will have to use a different tag to achieve that. If you give inside a paragraph, it will ignore all the white spaces and display it as in paragraph without any white spaces. This is what it means. The next is HTML horizontal rules. The HR tag defines the thematic break in a HTML page and is most often displayed as an horizontal rule. The HR element is used to separate content in a HTML page. For example, inside a paragraph itself, if you want to give any new line or something, you can always use an HR tag to bring it to the next line. So the HR tag is an empty tag, which means it has no end tag. It always has no end tag. Some elements, like we have discussed in the previous tutorial videos, some animals doesn't have an end tag. So one of the examples of such tag is HR tag. And the next thing is HTML line breaks. Like the horizontal thing, you have a BR element which defines a line break. So we'll just try this horizontal HR tag. This gives a line here after every wherever you specify. For example, here and over here and all that, it will just place a line after what you have given the HR tag, and it doesn't have an end tag. A similar example is what a line break does. Line break is something if you want to break a line. For example, in the paragraph, as we have discussed, it will ignore the white space and you can't go to a next line. But if you really want to go to a next line and continue the paragraph, you have to give a line break tag here, which is the BR tag. It will break the line and the rest of the things will be displayed on a separate line. So this is why a BR tag is used. All these tags are really important to keep in mind so that when we develop a page, it will be useful for us. So again, it's an empty tag, which means it has no end tag. The poem problem, this poem will be displayed on a single line. It won't be, since you have given a white space, it won't be displayed in a similar fashion. Since it's a paragraph P inside a P tag, it will always be displayed in a single line like a paragraph. Solution. The pre-element. The HTML pre-element defines a pre-formatted text. The text inside a pre-element is displayed in a fixed width font, usually Courier, and it reserves both spaces and line space. So if you want your HTML web page to display the same as how you give inside your code, you have to use something called a pre-element. It has an opening and closing tag, and if you give this, it will display this like the same thing you have given in your code. So that's all about this video about headings and paragraphs. HTML tag references, you always know that P means paragraph, HR means horizontal, and BR line break, and pre means a pre-formatted text. That's it for this video, guys. See you in the next one, HTML styles. Bye.